Good morning. It's Sunday, September 8th. And for those of you who have not been paying much attention to what's going on around us, this is a very unusual time in the history of the United States. We have a former president and a current candidate in the upcoming election who has been convicted on 34 counts for criminal activities. And the judge who was prepared to sentence him has postponed the sentencing of Donald J. Trump till after the election. And I believe he's doing that because if he had sentenced him before the election and Donald Trump wins that election, then Donald Trump will just exonerate himself. And that'll be the end of that. So I think the judge did a wise thing by postponing his sentencing. Now, as I understand it, the judge has a decision to make. And the voters don't necessarily understand how he can make the decision. But the decision that I am talking about is whether or not Donald Trump will actually be sentenced to time in jail, time behind bars, or whether he will get some other sentence, like home confinement for a year or two, or possibly some public service thing that he would have to do. Or maybe he'll just be put on some form of probation until he dies. There are many forms of sentencing that could take place where Donald Trump would not end up behind bars. And so that's what I think the judge is concerned about also. In fact, when the judge explained his delay of the sentencing, he said this is a unique time in this particular matter. We find ourselves in a very unusual situation. And he had previously planned to hand down Trump's punishment on September 18th. And now that was 7 weeks before Election Day. But he has postponed it till after Election Day. And he stated that this is a decision that the court does not take lightly, but it is a decision in the court's view that it is in the best interests of justice. That's what he wrote in his 4-page ruling. And he wrote that this matter stands alone. It has a unique place in this nation's history. So the judge recognizes that something like this has never happened before. And he is being extremely cautious in taking the chances that he has to take. And so he has recognized the fact that he must wait till after the election because there's no point in sentencing Donald Trump if he wins the presidency, and he can just stop any convictions against himself. So the judge has avoided a whole bunch of second guessing in the campaign's final stretch. He's categorically stated that the court wants to be fair, impartial. The integrity of our judicial system demands that this sentencing that I must make must be free from distraction or distortion. Who could tell if the sentencing of Mr. Trump in September will help him or harm him? It could be an embarrassment as a reminder to the public of his criminal record, But it could also excite his claims to political martyrdom and have his constituency rise up and help him. So who knows how this decision would affect the election. But the judge's decision also came at the request of Mr. Trump, who asked for a delay because he wanted more time to challenge the conviction on charges that he falsified records to cover up the sex scandal. And the prosecutors working for the district attorney in Manhattan, who brought the case, left it up to the judge to decide whether they should have a brief postponement. So the judge gave Trump what he wanted. He postponed. And the prosecuting attorneys left it up to the judge to make the decision. So when you look at that, you can see that the judge had attorneys on his side for the decision that he was going to make, and he made it. So there are many out there who are unhappy with the judge's decision, and they believe that Trump is being treated differently from other felons and is shielded from the consequences of a conviction. So Trump has many critics, and they want the Judge Merchant to hold the former president accountable promptly after he was convicted in May. So we have Trump, who's the first former president to become a felon, and he faces up to 4 years in prison. And I would have thought that the sentence would be greater than that. However, the judge could impose a shorter sentence or could impose only probation. Who knows what he will do? But in any event, if he waits till after the election, he has a better chance of this conviction holding. Because if he did it before the election and President Trump wins, or ex-President Trump wins the nomination, then he would only recuse himself. Trump did not celebrate the delay. He called it a witch hunt. There should be no sentencing. This is just an election interference witch hunt, he called it. And Trump's request to postpone had posed an unparalleled predicament for the judge, because he was still trying to treat Trump as he would any other defendant. So he cannot lean and listen to anything that Trump says. That puts his judgeship in a poor light. So if there ever was a mishmash in our court system, this is it. And many should pay close attention to this to gain an understanding of how complicated things can get when we have high, powerful people involved in activities that are illegal or border on illegal. The system is not designed to handle that very well. So I leave you with that this morning. Trump awaiting sentencing, Trump awaiting an election, and the country sitting on the edge of its seat. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.